We'd like to call the meeting to order, Pledge of Allegiance, and if you could please stand, and then a moment of silent prayer.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You remain standing for a moment of silent prayer. The first item on the agenda is a public hearing for the 2022 Special Assessment Levy. The time is 7:02, and I'm going to declare the public hearing open. Are there any comments from residents regarding the Special Assessment Levy?
My name is Arloa Kaiser. I'm from Ypsilanti Township, and I just want to make a general statement that people are saying that they don't know when this is and when that is.
Bless you.
Ypsilanti Township puts on their website, and let's see, it is put on there Friday nights at the end of the day.
Bless you.
The agenda for the meeting, regular meeting agenda, and the work session agenda. So,
Ms. Kaiser, do you have any comment regarding the Special Assessment District? It's a public hearing for that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I misunderstood.
No problem. I'm sorry, but it's a public hearing regarding special assessments, and then we're going to go down to public comment.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm sorry. It's so technical to do these things sometimes, and I really apologize. So are there any comments regarding the special assessment levy? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:04. Clerk Rowe.
All right, I have Charter Township of Ypsilanti Resolution 2022-12, the Special Assessment Levy. Whereas the Charter Township of Ypsilanti Board of Trustees on September 20th, 2022 held a public hearing on the proposed special assessment roll prepared by the Deputy Assessor, a copy of which is on file in the clerk's office after advertising in a newspaper of record in the township. And whereas on September 20th, 2022, the Ypsilanti Township Board heard comments on said proposed special assessment roll prepared by Deputy Assessor. Now therefore it be resolved that the proposed special assessment roll prepared by the Assistant Assessor for the Charter Township of Ypsilanti be adopted and the amount set forth on the special assessment roll be levied on the 2022 winter tax roll. I would so move Resolution 2022-12.
Support.
Motion by Gerald, supported by Wilson to approve the resolution. Is there discussion? We're going to do a roll call vote. Swanson?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Rowe?
Yes.
Stumba votes yes. Eldridge?
Yes.
And Wilson.
Yes.
The special assessment levy resolution is approved. The next item on the agenda is public comments again, and you can speak on any agenda item as well as things that are not on the agenda.
My name is Arloa Kaiser, and I have one more comment. For everybody here, I'm sure there isn't one person in here that doesn't have a cell phone. And if they need information, the township offices are open Monday through Friday, and you do have phone service. So if they have any questions, that's what the board and the employees are here for.
Thank you for your comments.
Sorry. Joanne McCullum from Ypsilanti Township. Do I have to do my address and stuff? Okay. So I want to thank the board for considering improvements for the building in West Willow, 2057 West Willow. That building is used for many things. It's used for things in that community and also outside the community. Eastern Michigan University has a group there called Staying Power. They come there each week. And we also have groups from University of Michigan comes there with different programs. Take Back Meds, which is open, of course, to anywhere, any place. We had that on the 29th of this month. We'll be having Trunk or Treat, Haunted House, Farmers Market. It's all open to all communities that are in the area. And we are in a food desert area, our community, along with 2 or 3 other communities around us. So we have a farmers market, and they have taken advantage of getting fresh fruits and vegetables. So I just want to thank you for improving that building. And if you can get the groundhogs out of that building,
Yes, ma'am.
then we're going to call the president or something, because they've been there a long time. But anyway, I just want to thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Regina Kudla. I live in the township. I'm here in regards to the thing on the agenda about the Ypsilanti water rate adjustment. And I just want to say that pending what we hear with Part 2, I really support investing in our water system. I think a rate increase is probably appropriate. Our water doesn't seem to be very expensive. And if the water system needs work on it, then we absolutely should get that done. So,
Thank
that's
you.
all. Okay.
Thank you for your comment. Thanks for coming out.
So my name is Amber Fellows, and I just wanted to add on to that conversation about the license plate readers to a private third-party company. You know, I understand that there's some conversation around you not having the information about the surveyed results, but I think that's a really poor excuse, because you should be doing your own surveying. If you at all believe to represent your constituents, you would have to do extensive surveying on such a controversial and important matter. Otherwise, any decision that you make would be utterly hubris. And I kind of have seen this pattern with this body that I heard that you all spent money to advocate against the AAATA millage. Like, what municipality does that? They create budget allocations to advocate against, like, increased services for your constituents. It's, like, absurd. So I don't know how you've been going on like this for as long as you have, but it's going to end. And you will have competition in 2024, but I think even before that, you should start thinking about what's ahead for you.
Thank you so much for your comment. Are there any other comment? Public comment?
Hi, I'm Jessie. I live in the township. So I'm a healthcare worker, and I think that, so I'm going to make a comment about the license plate readers. I think as a healthcare, coming from that lens, you know, I understand the desire for surveillance. Sometimes it can be helpful, such as during the pandemic, right? Contact tracing. But right now, we're here because this is very controversial, and this will harm our communities. It's going to harm Black, brown, undocumented people in poverty. And I think that I sympathize with you for you don't have all the information, but we can't just sit around and wait for it to be on the agenda, sit around and wait until it gets passed under our noses. We're here because we're worried now. Sorry, it's hard to breathe with the mask.
Thank you so much.
And also during the post-Roe world that we live in, as a healthcare worker specifically, like, I'm scared for people coming up from Ohio for reproductive health care, including abortions. They will be criminalized and placed in prison because of the license plate readers. Like, as somebody who's also worked in health technology, I don't trust private companies. I don't trust that what they say that they're doing with this data is true. For example, you know, the Amazon Alexa, they say they delete the recording. I think it's like 7 seconds after you say the word Alexa. Do you really think that they're doing that? That's just one example in my research that I've had people say, I don't trust that. So I oppose it, and I do hope you get the information that you need to make the right decision about this.
Thank you so much. Other comments?
Hi, Alicia Dyer, Township resident. I know I talked a lot in working session. I just want to, apologize on the planning with the working session agenda. We thought during the other discussion line item that we could give public comment then, and that was appropriate. And we'll make sure in the future that we show up at the public board meetings for public comment if it's not on the agenda. But we want to request that the license plate reader be put on the agenda for the next meeting, and the resolution that was sent that YCS students made, we're requesting that also go on the agenda, so that way we can have time to dialogue about it. And we also have not heard back yet, and so from the township, and we're hoping that can happen. And then if that does happen, if the township can contact us and let us know when that is going to happen and how we can respond, because, I think at the end of the day, this is a very controversial issue, and people are there's a lot of information going around, and people want to know what's actually going on. I think that even putting on my hat from when I was policing, when the township cameras came out, there was also a lot of fear. Some residents wanted it, some residents didn't. And so this is adding another layer to that in a very extreme way. And something that I think about too is, when you're out driving around on patrol and residents know that we have this technology, if we were deciding to adopt it, they're going to want us to use it for anything and everything, just because of the natural reaction to if something happens to them. So let's say a neighbor sees a 16-year-old littering and they call the police. They're going to say, hey, you guys have the license plate readers. Why can't you track them down? And I think it's going to cause a lot of tension in the community. And I think it's just been very obvious that the community does not want this technology. I think that the overall goal is safety. And if we focus on that overall goal together, I think that we should be more creative about investing in front-end prevention. And I think that there's research that we can look to, and also intellectual capital in our community where we can work together to actually make our communities safer. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
Valerie Brown Tucson, Ypsilanti City. City Council has listened to their residents and have said no to this. And so I know that it's not on the agenda. However, when it does get on the agenda, or as you think about what you've heard here tonight, and if and when the Washtenaw County Sheriff Department contacts you again, that you also support the no. And maybe reach out to City Council, Ypsilanti City Council, to find out why, or, find out about their no. Work together as township and city to listen to what your constituents are saying as you move forward as to what decisions you're going to make, whether it's going to be a yes or a no, that you guys are working together. Because wherever these cameras are set up, it's not only going to affect township residents, it's also going to affect city residents. And Ypsi has already said no. So in my mind, they are your neighbors, they're fellow public servants like yourselves. Have a conversation and talk about what's good for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. Any other comments?
I feel like I'm Kat Layton again. I feel like I would be wrong to not address this with you. I know the surveillance issue is not on the agenda. We're all aware of that, but it's very important to stress the fact that this is going to cause harm to disproportionately to communities of color, to undocumented communities, to communities who are having unwanted pregnancies. It's going to cause a lot of damage, and I know that it's really easy to sit in your chair and think, this doesn't impact me, this is going to impact other people more than me, or maybe they're engaging in crime more, maybe they're people and these marginalized positionalities are not doing more crime. They're targeted strategically by these systems, looking like they're doing more crime, but they're not. If you understand the historical context behind policing in America, and I don't mean the establishment of the first sheriff's department, I mean the actual history of policing in America going all the way back to slave patrols, and recognizing that that is the reason why policing existed to begin with. And then you can have that context in mind when you think about how we're going to be impacting people with surveillance cameras. It's really crucial to know that if you want more public safety, invest in after-school programming, invest in welfare funding, invest in, what else? Like, invest in literally the community and the people. All these dollars that we had towards projects and proposals and grants and all that, if we were to actually just put that into the community, imagine the world we could live in. And I like to imagine that world, and I figured you probably do too. We're not all bad people. We want to see the world that we wish to live in. And like, for me, it's a world where there's equity, and there's a world where people are treated like human beings with dignity, and that's not going to happen with this. And I just wanted to reiterate that and stress that, because I think it's very crucial for you to know that.
Thank you. There aren't any more public comments. We'll go to, oh, I'm sorry.
It's been a long time since I've been out here, but I'm here. I wanted to be understood that this camera thing is Jerry Clayton's baby. And all of us that's, I guess, say, throwing the shoe at the township board, need to take them same shoes over there on Hogback Road and throw them at Jerry Clayton. Jerry Clayton, in my estimation, he's got a sweet mouth, but he got a dirty heart. I ain't telling nobody else to say that. I'm saying it. Sweet mouth, but a dirty heart. He wants to go out smoking, being the most powerful law enforcer in Washtenaw County. People need to hit Jerry's house early in the morning. He gonna lie and say he ain't there, but that's where you need to be about this camera thing. People, I want you all to understand one thing here. George Floyd died begging for mercy. He even called on his mama, while a racist white cop kept his knee on his neck, while a bunch of other racist white folks stood by and watched. But I want you to understand this about me. I am for any tool that the police departments need to fight crime. But those tools must be used proper. And if you all go for it, you should monitor and make sure that these tools are being used proper. These tools should not be used to accuse a young black woman for a drive-by shooting, and ultimately the prosecutor had to let her go because your Sergeant Phillips, Jerry's boy at the Washtenaw County, made the critical move on saying, arrest her, because she wouldn't tell him where her brother was. Those tools should not be used to handcuff 16-year-old boys. They shouldn't be used for that. Those tools should not be used to just give black boys and girls tickets going down Clark Road. I sat there by the cemetery and over those apartments, and I see young black boys, young black girls getting stopped by the police, Washtenaw County. And when they clear, I approach and ask them what went on. And then I also see white boys getting stopped. And guess what? Anywhere from 1.5 to 2 minutes. That ain't enough to check nobody out. ex-police officer can tell you that. That's not enough to check nobody out. But guess what? They gone about their business. No tickets. And I have told the judges in Washtenaw County, if you get these black boys and black girls tickets, and you don't get no white boy and no white girl tickets doing the same thing, traveling in the same area, then don't give nobody no tickets. Because you know devilish well there's a dead cat on the line someplace. I'm going to show y'all something. I would love for you all, I would love for all white folks, y'all listen to me good. Call me a racist if you want to, but you don't know me. I would love for all white folks to come on the bottom where I am. Come on the bottom where I am. And let's work together. And when we get to the top, it's going to be a fair playing field for everybody. But you know what some white folks will do? Y'all listen to me. The boat is sinking. The black folks in the bottom of the boat. Water coming in the boat. You got a middle section up here. No water there. What they making all that noise for? What they making the noise for? Sister, I'm going to leave, but I want you to hear me because y'all need to hear me.
I just want to treat everyone.
You need to hear me. On the middle floor, folks holler. What they making all that noise for? Them white folks on the top up there, they don't hear nothing. But watch this. Ultimately, the water coming in the bottom of the boat. Ultimately, the boat sinks. Them folks on the top, them folks in the middle, and them folks on the bottom, all of them drown. But all you had to do was come down and listen to the folks on the bottom, and that's me. Listen to the folks on the bottom, and when we get to the top, the field is plain. I got to come back and talk to y'all again because there's some stuff that y'all need to know about y'all's sheriff department. Y'all need to know about y'all's sheriff department. And Sister Stumble, I'm sure you got some kind of control. Thank you.
Thank you. Does that conclude the public comments? On the consent agenda, it was agreed. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Hi. I had a couple of thoughts. I feel bad. I feel like I was mean earlier, and I still don't want the license plate readers, but I want to be nicer. I have one question. Is that a camera? Okay, so what is it for?
These are public meetings.
So,
And they're broadcast.
so they're broadcast? Where is it broadcast?
Can be, or they're recorded. This is a public meeting, and it's recorded.
And where's the camera recording go?
Derringer, is that the name?
Something like that, yeah.
Mr. Derringer, this is a trial. We're trying to see if we can access and make our meetings more accessible to those who can't attend. So we're trying a small camera to start so our IT people can review it and see what the quality of the video and the audio is.
Okay, that's great. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Because that's important. That back in the city, they do that. They even have the ability, I don't know if they still do it, but that you can make public comment over Zoom, which is great. So I just am wondering kind of just like in terms of a timeline, what we can expect. Like, you know, I don't need to maybe reiterate that you all are way over your head in thinking about license plate readers because neither the sheriff's office nor you seem to know what's going on. But what can we expect?
I'm not going to answer questions. This is public comments for us to hear what people say. But like we said, this is not on the agenda. We don't have all our questions answered. We don't even know if we're proceeding.
Okay.
When we do, we're going to let everyone know because we have a lot of questions too based on what was raised. So we have to investigate too. And we didn't do the survey, the sheriff's department did the survey. The survey was open. It didn't include only Ypsi Township. It was open to the broader area. And you could vote more than once on the survey is what was told to us. So we're not really, like, this isn't a top priority to move forward. It's just not.
Okay, that's great. Maybe you could consider passing an ordinance to ban surveillance like this. It's just something to think about. Another thought is maybe you could, because, you know, I know there's concern that, like, we don't know if the survey is actually representative. I do know that the 1,146 respondents that the sheriff's office gave as their data, those are township residents, which means they did get more responses from other folks that they didn't share. So that is of the township. 87% of township respondents said that they don't want this. But one idea would be to make it so that any changes like this might have to be voted on by the people. Because if that's the concern, that people don't actually, you know, that the survey isn't reflecting what the people actually want, then the vote is the best thing we have to reflect that, right? So that could be an idea. And I'm sorry I'm so heated. I really don't mean to be heated. It's just like a very heated topic. I assume you all are trying your best, so thank you.
Are there any other public comments? Just to give everyone a fair chance to be heard. We're going to go to the consent agenda on 5A, the minutes. It was agreed to be tabled, is that correct?
So move the consent agenda with tabling the minutes from the August 16th meeting to be brought back at the next meeting.
Motion, Giro Rose, support Eldridge. There's no discussion on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have statements and checks, the treasurer's report for the consent agenda. Are motions in order?
I think we did that together. I motion to approve the consent agenda without the minutes. To be brought back.
Did you motion, the table's got to be separate.
You want to do it separate? All right, so move the consent agenda.
I'm sorry. Motion Rose, support Eldridge to approve the statements and checks in the treasurer's report for August 2022. Any questions or comment? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 6 is the attorney's report. Is there any general legal update, Mr. Winters?
Madam Chair, just a couple updates. I apologize in advance if I sound weak, so I'll try to speak louder. As far as the hearing of September 20th, I do think that we will have some very robust agendas in October. There's a lot of things that are going to be coming to you that might even require going into closed session as we get closer to, I think, wrapping up the contracts that we've been talking about for a good while. Those are in the late stages. So hope everybody's schedule is everybody's well rested for October because we have quite a few agenda items. We got some good things happening on the economic front that we'll be discussing in October as well. So there's a lot of positive things that are happening both in regards to the township economic development as well as some new ways of possibly financing infrastructure improvements. The one thing that I do want to spend a few minutes to at least bring you up to speed on is in regards to Galt Village. And I say that because that is the one item that so many people here in the township, both past and present, have dedicated a great deal of efforts in trying to hold all of the property owners, including the one that is the current property owner, accountable for what has occurred in the Galt Village Shopping Center. When I say what has occurred, as you know, all those buildings have been deemed to be dangerous They've been ordered by 3 different circuit court judges to be abandoned, and also we've been given orders to go ahead and proceed with obtaining the cost of demolition of these properties, which I believe is a high priority to the township, especially for those neighborhoods that have had to endure what has been probably the most blighted commercial property that I can recall during my tenure as a township attorney. The last Friday, following Judge Kunke's latest order, there was a group of township administrative staff, as well as consultants, as well as Township Attorney Dennis McLean, who actually spent a great deal of Friday actually going through those buildings, section by section, building by building. It's about 175,000 square feet. And Tommy Greenwood, I guess I should call him ordinance officer, ordinance administrator Tom Greenwood, took a lot of pictures, probably maybe as many as 200, 250 pictures, just documenting the conditions inside that property. I did have conversations with Dave Bellers today and other people that were present for the inspection after reviewing the photographs, just to make sure that what I was seeing was actually what I was seeing. And it is. You have the conditions outside that continue to deteriorate. You have the posts that support the canopy that at times appear to be on the verge of collapse. That's why we have that fencing around the Galt Village Shopping Center. Inside the property, continuing to deteriorate and decline even beyond what was expected by Chief Building Official Dave Bellers. The water that's intruded from the roof, the mold growth, the conditions are such that there is absolutely no doubt in my mind whatsoever that the only logical course of action is to go through with the demolition. So both parties are required to appear before Judge Kunke this coming Friday at 1:30 and to try and present what we believe to be the most logical course of action. And the consultant the township has engaged, SME, did have on site a contractor, a demolition contractor, and expects to have his report to our office in the township, hopefully by maybe Wednesday, Thursday at the latest. At the end of the day, we're also going to continue to try and increase the fencing that backs up to Coleman Street that continues to be accessed over there in the neighborhood. I did mention to the board in my previous letter back maybe 10, 12 days ago of the need for the township to take advantage of Judge Kunke's order that allows the township to retain private security, to monitor the parking lot, and to keep it safe and secure. I mentioned in my letter that I witnessed 2 separate occasions in the daylight hours, morning hours, what I believed, and I'm not a police officer, but what I believe to be 2 separate drug transactions involving 2 separate vehicles, with the exception that the one vehicle that appeared to be the one that was doing the hand-to-hand delivery. And so I would call upon the township to at least take advantage of their authority to keep this property safe and secure. Not everything that's happening over there is happening at night. I mean, obviously a great deal does happen at night. I think that with the township working with private security in conjunction with the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Department, there has to be a presence over there at Galt Village. There has to be a presence in a way that the neighborhood knows that it's not simply just the wild, wild west over there, which at times it has become. They've had everything from fireworks going off over there, drug dealing, prostitution, vandalism, people seeing that as a perfect place to dump their blight, their garbage. And I think the township, and I know all of us here, are just kind of fed up with having to deal with this property in terms of responsibility. We are allowed to put the cost of this onto the property, but at the same time, it still requires the township to upload or upfront those costs, and that's not insignificant. So at the end of the day, I would just encourage board members, if at all possible, to continue to watch the Zoom hearings that are available through Judge Conkey's office. We'll know better in the days ahead as to what that demolition cost is going to possibly involve. But I will say right now that, and I know I'm kind of preaching to the choir, there are very few days that go by where we don't, at least one of us, or maybe sometimes more than one of us, receive inquiries as to what is going on in Galt Village, what's going to happen. We've had the owner even put up misleading signs at some point saying, you know, we're now pre-leasing the property, get your reservations in, et cetera. Totally misleading people with false expectations, false hopes, and we've had to remove those signs. But at the end of the day, I would encourage all of you to yourselves to drive over there whenever time allows, because I think the more visible that part, and that's a huge parking lot. That's 17 acres. That's 17 acres of just open parking lot over there, and it's you know, I would warn you there's awful lot of glass and sharp objects in the parking lot to be wary. So you might want to be careful when you're driving your car, but at the same time, we have to get it cleaned up. We have to bring it to a head. And but the first priority has to be securing that property, because I believe that no matter how many times we board it up, it gets broken into because it becomes an attractive nuisance to a lot of the younger people, and some of them are actually, and some people have actually been living inside there or staying inside there. You couldn't live in there. But at the same time, we need to be mindful that we now have the authority to do a lot of the things that in years past we did not have. And so I would like, going into the end of this year and going into 2023, try to see this come to fruition, both from a demolition standpoint and for the repurposing. That's a strong, strong neighborhood throughout that Grove Road area, Sugarbrook, all through the areas in West Willow. Many people lived over there, shopped at that shopping center back when it was a very, very vibrant place to go to. And it would be supported, again, if we have the right people to invest in the community and to take advantage of local businesses. And it could be a farmer's market. It could be any number of things. But we have to get rid of that blight in those dangerous buildings, because it's very dangerous for anyone to be over there, especially at nighttime. It's unlit, it's total darkness over there, and just again, I think we need to work with the sheriff's department in trying to figure out how we can safely patrol this on a regular basis, and possibly also utilize private security when the sheriffs can't be there 24/7, because there's too much at risk here, in my opinion. Thank you.
Questions or comments regarding that? Doug, I appreciate the update, and I really appreciate the team that went out to Galt Village to get us the best estimate. I'm sorry more people didn't stay for that, but I know the Galt Village issue is very important to a lot of people, and we get asked. It's probably the number one issue, I would say, that we get asked about. And through the pandemic, there was excuses, but no more. So residents deserve better than that, and I appreciate it, and I will be attending the hearing. And if people want to go on Zoom and watch it, I hope you do, because I do think it makes a difference when the judge knows that people are interested. And we had two residents come as well at the last hearing and sat through the entire hearing as well. So I'd love to give a Facebook update on that if we could, but I know it's in court. You're not supposed to do that. But this is really positive news, and hopefully we can eradicate it.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
does the Gulf Village still have the same owner that it had before that we were having issues with?
It's been under the same ownership for at least 6 years, maybe 7 years.
So only until it either has a new owner, or how can this property get out of the hands of this owner?
Well, I don't think that what we're trying to accomplish now is to actually demolish the buildings. And what happens as that occurs remains to be seen, but that's the first step, is demolition.
Compliance.
Yeah.
Our first goal was to get him to fix it up. And he promised, and he attended meetings at the, Galt Village Neighborhood Watch, and came to the township several times. And time again, he never did what he said he would do. So now it's deteriorated so bad. And I don't think you can fix it up.
And we can only make him do so much? I mean, as a property owner, he can only be made to do so much?
Well, we now have an order of demolition.
Okay.
And similar to Liberty Square, the township was, paid for the demolition. It was through grants. I don't know if we can get it for this, but this is the second time that it's happened. One was Liberty Square Properties on Grove Road in Galt Village. So we don't want to make people do that.
Right.
We want them to do it. It's their building, but they have failed on many occasions, and enough's enough, basically.
Yeah. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Mr. Winters, could you repeat the time and day? I know it's this Friday?
It's Friday at 1:30
1:30.
for Judge Carol Conkey. I think Heather and Brenda may have her Zoom ID notice, which is the same each time you log in. If not, we can get that to you.
Thank you.
So sorry. Under old business, we have second reading of ordinance number 2022-500, and ordinance to amend Chapter 62, Article 4, Sections 62 through 76, the Code of Ordinances for the Township to adjust water and water rates.
I have Charter Township of Ypsilanti Proposed Ordinance 2022-500, an ordinance to amend Chapter 62, Article 4, Section 62-76A1 of the Code of Ordinances, Charter Township of Ypsilanti, to adjust water service rates. Be it ordered that by the Charter Township of Ypsilanti, Section 62-76A1 of Chapter 62, Article 4 of the Code of Ordinances be revised as follows. For all billings rendered prior to October 1, 2022, existing water service rate shall prevail. For all billings rendered on or after October 1, 2022, charges for water services shall be as follows for each bi-monthly or 2-month period. 1, the readiness to serve rates based on size of meter. The meter size followed by the water rate, or 5/8 to 3/4 is $16.73. 1 inch is $41.83. 1 to 1.5 is $83.66. 2 inches is $1 or $133.86. 3 is $418.30. 4 is $836.59. 6 inches is $1,673.19. 8 is $2,928.08. 10 is $4,601.27. 12 is $5,437.87. Our commodity rate is $3.62 per 100 cubic feet. I would so move proposed ordinance 2022-500.
We have a motion, and hopefully I won't get sick. We have a motion. Is there a support?
Sorry.
Support.
We have a motion by Rose, support by Swanson, to approve the second reading of the water rate. And Mr. Luke Blackburn is here from the YCUA. We did have a follow-up meeting.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. Since our first reading on August 16th, the Ypsilanti Board of Commissioners did approve the rate increases at their regular meeting on August 24th. The average impact to a township resident for this 4% increase is about $3.81 on a bi-monthly bill. The main drivers for the needed increase is a recovery from lost consumption due to COVID-19, significant cost increases due to inflation for increased costs in parts and equipment and supplies that we need at the authority, and of course, the continued commitment that the authority has to infrastructure within our community. Those are the main drivers behind the needed increase. And I'm welcome to share any additional information or questions that anyone may have.
Questions or comment?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Luke, did the city approve it last night, their rate increase?
They approved it on second reading at September 13th, last Tuesday.
Thank you.
Mr. Blackburn, that sounds funny to call you that, but it's,
Call me Luke.
no, but I'm trying to, can you explain that, the pass-through cost from Detroit Water was 3%, is that correct?
3.1%.
And then the increase that's being proposed here,
Is 4%.
so it's a slight increase over the 3.1.
Correct. So there is an ordinance that does allow, upon approval of the Ypsilanti Board, to pass that rate increase on of 3.1%. Since we are asking for an increase beyond that, that ordinance doesn't apply in this case. The 3.1 increase from Great Lakes Water Authority covers a piece of our expenditures. It is the largest single expenditure that the authority has. It's north of $11 million. But there's a lot of other costs that the authority incurs beyond just buying water from Great Lakes Water Authority. That is all of the infrastructure within the system, the maintenance of the meters, the maintenance of the valves, the projects that you see. Those are costs that are above and beyond just the cost of purchasing water from Great Lakes Water Authority. And due to the aging infrastructure that we have, we felt the need to increase that rate slightly above the GLWA rate to ensure that we're continuing to provide the same level of service to the community.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah,
Trustee Swanson?
so I think typically we've just done the pass-through and we hadn't done an increase. And so what I think I hear you saying is that the thought is right now to take care of the increased cost of meters and all this other stuff, that there's a need for more. When you shift to that kind of thinking, then it just can become normalized that that's what we do. And I'm wondering, is that what the board's thinking? Are they thinking this is a one-time, we're going to change the way we've been doing things because we have a need, and then we're going to go back to the idea that we're just going to try to stick to the pass-through? I'm not saying that I don't know. I mean, I'm not there. I'm not making those decisions, but I'm thinking that this is a crossroads where it's possible that there's going to be a new way of thinking, and then this is the direction we're going to move. And if that's what's going to happen, then I think we need to know that that's the way it's going to go. So typically with our millage, we've tried to make a decision that we're going to kind of stick with what we have to make sure that, especially in time periods that have been hard for our residents, that we're going to try and do that. I guess that's what I would want to know. If you come to us and you say, we really need this for this purpose, it's hard not to say we're going to take care of our water infrastructure because that's valuable, and we've already heard one resident speak to it. But I think it's different to say we're going to shift away from the idea that we're just going to do the pass-through. So I think I would appreciate knowing, like, what's the thinking on that? And I know we can't lock anything in time, but I really am concerned about the idea that it seems like things are going up and everybody's solution is, well, we're just going to add more to the residents. And I think the cumulative effect of that is harsh if we look at it in total. So I'd be interested in hearing the thought about that, or maybe what the other boards thought about this idea. Are we going to try to go back to that, or are we just on a new trajectory where we're going to look to add more to the pass-through?
I can tell you, I've been with the authority for over 20 years, and that's absolutely never our mindset to go in and go above the GLWA rate increase, or actually even say take the same increase without a detailed analysis of the expenditures of the authority. I think we're coming out of just a very unusual 3 years for the utility from COVID. We've seen a downward trend over the last 5, 10, 15 years in consumption, and sometimes the annual rate increases really just cover or make up for the lost revenue from year to year. It doesn't really significantly increase revenue to the utility or provide more opportunities for investment in our infrastructure. So it is a delicate balance every year. We have introduced this year forecasting in our budget of 3 and 5 years to try to get a better handle of what those expenditures are going to look like and have the departments planning over a longer period of time. But record inflation, lost consumption really put us into a difficult position at the authority, and we feel that we want to continue with the same level of service that we have. But I can guarantee you it's not the mindset that I'm aware of with our board and or myself or the finance director to ever go in and try to get more than we ever need. That we always have the exact opposite approach, which is to try to minimize that increase. And I do think we have a strong history of displaying that on an annual basis.
Any other questions or comments?
Madam Chair, Luke, I know this is a little bit off topic, but I was just wondering if you could share with the board and the audience tonight the good news about the 75% on the projects that we'll get back.
Absolutely. So about a week ago, we did receive great news from Eagle regarding annually we put together project plans that we spoke about last time on the wastewater side and on the water side. We did receive 10% loan forgiveness on the wastewater side, but we received a substantial amount of loan forgiveness on the water side projects of 75%. For fiscal year 23. So these are these are projects that we're planning. Most of them have not been designed, so we have not incurred costs from those projects or no significant costs, but the estimated cost of those projects is north of $11 million. So with 75% loan forgiveness, we're estimating forgiveness of around $8 million. These are 3 pump station improvements within the township, water meter improvements and telemetry improvements within the city and township, and then there's 2 wastewater projects, but those only received the 10% loan forgiveness. So I think it was a very great job by our engineering manager to be very aggressive in getting those plans submitted to Eagle, and we're really looking forward to moving forward on those projects.
That is good news. And I remember we were trying to get everything together to our lobbyists and state and Senate and trying to get everything into the hopper and submitted so that we could be considered. There's still a lot more funding out there that, because you're ready and you have projects identified, that we could potentially, but that is a huge blessing to get that kind of forgiveness on these projects.
We're very fortunate, but that's a fight we think about every day, is looking for more opportunities for state and federal funding, loan forgiveness. Investing in our infrastructure is extremely important to us, so that's something we think about every day.
And this board is very concerned about people and paying bills and sensitive to the economy and the situation, whether it be taxes or water and sewer rates. That's why we really try to be careful and make sure we understand and we're not overreaching. We also have a program at the township that people qualify for, and we send a check to YCUA to pay $20 of their bill if they qualify. There's also more funding that YCUA participates with. Washtenaw County received a bunch of dollars for it. So we're going to try to coordinate and layer so people have access to all those funds. There's millions and billions of dollars. Connecting people to those resources is the biggest challenge that we have. But with your help, with Washtenaw County doing their part, and the state of Michigan, I think we might really be able to lift people up and help them during this very, very difficult time, because the worst is yet to come, I think. I'm very concerned about the economy and what's going on with inflation. So, but we can't control it, but we can at least try to help those who really need the help. So I appreciate the meeting that you had with us, a follow-up. I have a little philosophical disagreement with paying a lot more down on pension, I think it is. That, you know, maybe we could use that to really have more people, because I know we have a reduced staff over there as well. So you went through the hard times just like we did, and we're trying to get back up to the staff that we had, and we're not there yet either, and I know you're not. But overall, it was a good meeting, and you explained it very well, and I appreciate it, and hopefully it won't have to go up above next year.
We also appreciate it. We understand it's just not, there's no easy answers. So we understand that, and that's something that we always, whenever we get feedback, we take it back. I am that kind of director, and I think we have that kind of team at YCUA where we're paying attention and we're listening. We're not always perfect, but we pride ourselves on great customer service and helping out the customers of our community. I would put YCUA up against any nearby utility for how far beyond we go. We go into customers' homes if they have leaks, which no other utility will do. We take care of service laterals that most communities won't take care of. Whenever a customer even shows up at our customer service department or shows any inclination for a difficulty to pay, the customer service staff is well-versed on providing them resources for reimbursements that they may be eligible for. Our accountant calls them personally and gives them that information. Through the one benefit of being with GLWA and buying water to them is we receive, we're part of the RAP program, the Water Residential Assistance Program. And that's not state or federal money, that's funded through the suburban communities that participate in that system. So that money is there every year, and that program's been around since GLWA stood it up maybe in 2015 or 2016. That gives homeowners up to $1,000 per year for payment toward their water bill. And then, as you mentioned, in regards to the low-income housing assistance program, we just signed a memorandum of understanding with Washtenaw County, which is those programs can be cumulative. If you qualify for one, doesn't disqualify you for the other one. So there's many opportunities out there, and we do try to get that information to the customer's hand when we see the need.
And we appreciate it very much. All right, we have a motion and support. This is our ordinance, so we have to do a roll call vote again. Swanson?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Rowe?
Yes.
Stumble votes yes. Eldridge?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
The second reading is approved.
Thank you.
You are welcome. The next item is the second reading. This is for the sewer ordinance and to amend Chapter 62, Article 4, Section 62 through 76. And Clerk Gerald Rowe is recovering, and so I can read it. You want me? I'll be happy to read it for you. Proposed ordinance 22-501, an ordinance to amend 62, Article 4, Sections 62 through 77 of the Code of Ordinances, Charter Township of Ypsilanti, to adjust the sewage disposal rates. Be it ordered by the Charter Township of Ypsilanti that Section 62 through 77 of Chapter 62, Article 4 of the Code of Ordinances be revised as follows. For all billings rendered prior to October 1st, 2022, existing disposal sewer rates shall prevail. For all billings rendered after October 1st, 2022, the charges for the sewage disposal service shall be as follows for each monthly 2-month or bi-monthly 2-month period. The readiness to serve rate is based on the size of the meter. 5/8 to 3/4, $17.47. 1 inch, $43.69. 1.5 inch meter, $87.36. 2 inch, $139.79. 3 inch meters, $436.83. 4 inch meters, $873.66, 6-inch meters, $1,747.31, 8-inch meters, $3,057.80, 10-inch meter, $4,805.11, and a 12-inch meter, $5,678.77. The commodity rate is $2.88 per 100 cubic feet.
So move ordinance 2022-501.
Support.
Motion by Gerald Rose, support by Swanson, to approve the second reading of the sewage disposal rate. Are there questions on this? It's a 4% increase, the same as water.
It's the same as water, correct?
So, I'm sorry.
Please, Mr. Newman?
Is this this is in addition to the water rate increase?
Correct. It is a cumulative 4% increase on the water and sewer bill for a customer. So when I reference, I apologize, we don't typically break it out. The increase of $3.81 is the cumulative or total increase for an average township customer. That includes water and sewer. But it is 4% for the water rate and 4% for the sewer rate.
So it's not 8%, it's just 4%.
It's absolutely not 8%. It's a 4% increase.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we're going to do a roll call vote on this as well. Swanson?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Gloria?
Yes.
Rowe?
Yes.
Stumble votes yes. Eldridge?
Yes.
And Wilson?
Yes.
And the second reading is approved. Thank you for all your time and coming to the meeting. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Supervisor Stumber, and thank you to the board. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Under new business, we have Resolution 22-13 road closure request for Calvary Baptist Fall Festival. I have a
I'm sorry?
Would you like me to read the resolution?
Oh, I didn't know it was resolution. I'm sorry.
Resolution 2022-13, which is resolution regarding temporary road closure. This is a resolution authorizing the temporary road closure of Rosewood Street between Davis and Ecorse. This is for the Calvary Baptist Church Fall Festival from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. What date is it? Date will be inserted. Whereas the Township of Ypsilanti Board of Trustees has approved the temporary closure of Ypsilanti Township roads as indicated above, and whereas the driveways, banners, and parades at 200 of 1969 requires the township to authorize an official designated by resolution to make such a request to the Road Commission. Now therefore be it resolved that the Township of Ypsilanti Board of Trustee designates and agrees that Fred Crothers, Calvary Baptist Church Facility Manager, be authorized as an official designee in this instance when application is made to the Washtenaw County Road Commission for this temporary road closure. October 15th, from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Move to approve.
Motion Wilson, support Eldridge to approve the resolution. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Under new business, number 2 is a request approval of the contract with the National Kidney Foundation of Michigan to offer enhanced fitness classes at the community center for 2022.
So move, Peterson.
Support.
Motion Peterson, support Eldridge. Mr. Winters, have you had the opportunity to review this?
Well, I have reviewed this one. In the past, the township has also had contracts with the National Kidney Foundation. One from memory, it was designed to try and encourage good health amongst population, to prevent diabetes, things like that nature. So it's a very good program to have in our community for any number of people, especially our seniors to take advantage of.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 3 is request authorization to approve the sale or removal of excess township equipment that we do every year.
So moved.
Motion Eldridge.
Support.
Support Gerald Rowe to approve the sale or removal of the excess township equipment. Is there any discussion? We discussed this in the work session. It'll be put on Mitten and advertised as well. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 4 is a resolution 2022-10, the Michigan Department of Natural Resources, Land and, where am I at? And Water Conservation Fund project at the Community Center Park.
So moved.
I have,
I can read it.
I don't mind reading them. I kind of like it. I miss reading. We have Resolution 2022-10, which is a 2020 Michigan Department of Natural Resources Land and Water Conservation Fund project and the agreement resolution. It is resolved that the Township of Ypsilanti, Michigan does hereby accept the terms of the agreement as received from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources, and that the Township of Ypsilanti does hereby specifically agree, but not by way of limitation, as follows. Number 1, to appropriate all funds necessary to complete the project during the project period and to provide $176,200, which is 50% match that the grant has authorized by the department. Number 2, to maintain satisfactory financial accounts, documents, and records to make them available to the department for auditing and reasonable time. Number 3, to construct the proper project and provide such funds, services, and materials as be necessary to satisfy the terms of the agreement. Number 4 is to regulate the use of the facility constructed and reserved under this agreement to assure the use thereof by the public on equal and reasonable terms. And number 5, to comply with any and all terms of the said agreement, including all terms not specifically set forth in the foregoing portions of this resolution.
So moved.
Motion by Gerald Rowe, support by Eldridge to approve the resolution. This is for Community Center Park for the repair and new tennis courts as well as pickleball courts. Questions or comment?
Yeah, my only comment is the reduction in size. I'm concerned about that.
Mr. Hoffmeister, did you hear that?
I did.
Okay, very good. We have a motion in support. Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item is request approval of the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Land and Water Conservation Fund Development Project Agreement, which is for the community center. It's in the amount of $176,200, which will be budgeted this year and next year to complete the project.
So move.
Support.
We have a motion, Rowe, supported by Wilson, to approve it. Questions or comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 6, the request to approve a letter agreement with Spicer Group for professional services for Community Center Park updates in the amount of $52,000, which is budgeted upon approval of the budget amendment.
So move.
Motion, Gerald Rowe.
Support Peterson.
Support Peterson to approve the professional services that will put together the bids and specs and bid it out and then oversee the construction improvement. Questions or comment? Same.
Need to say it again.
No.
Concerned about the reduction of size.
Did you hear that, Mr. Hoffman?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. And I understand your concern as well. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item is request approval of the maintenance agreement with relief for trees planted at Sugarbrook Park. There was some discussion at the board meeting.
Move to approve.
Madam Chair. I just, before we get into this agenda item, I'm sorry, I know I stepped out, but I just wasn't sure if Attorney Winters had the opportunity to review this. Trustee Wilson, I didn't mean to, you missed the work session, and I just had some concerns about how usually our contracts that come before us are much more detailed than this. And especially just considering Mike being short on staff, I'm concerned about, our obligation in this regard, and like, what are we going to do if all of these things are planted? We don't have the staff to maintain. I know, as you guys remember, a couple board meetings ago, we had to budget again for looking good to come out and spend more money. So I'm just wondering if we could table this item until we could get more clarity, or at least, have a better detailed contract that Attorney Winters has had time to look over.
Was that a motion?
A motion to table, yes, I'm sorry.
There's a motion by Joe Rose, support by Eldridge, to table the agreement to get a review by the attorney and more detailed actual agreement with the company. All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose?
No.
Mr. Wilson voted no. The motion passes. The next item is request approval of change order number 3 with Stantec for the Loon Feather Point Park renovation in the amount of $5,000, which is budgeted.
So move.
Support.
We have a motion by Gerald Rowe, supported by Eldridge, to approve the amendment. Questions or comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 9 is Resolution 22-15, the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Land and Water Conservation Fund project at Club View Park. The resolution?
I'll do it, Madam Chair. I have the Charter Township of Ypsilanti Resolution number 2022-15, a 2021 Michigan Department of Natural Resources Land and Water Conservation Fund Project Agreement Resolution. It is resolved that the Charter Township of Ypsilanti, Michigan does hereby accept the terms of this agreement as received from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources for improvements at Clubview Park, and that the Charter Township of Ypsilanti does hereby specifically agree, but not by way of limitation, as follows. 1, to appropriate all funds necessary to complete the project during the project period and to provide $175,500 or 50% to match the grant authorized by the department. 2, to maintain satisfactory financial accounts, documents, and records to make them available to the department for auditing at reasonable times. 3, to construct the project and provide such funds, services, and materials as may be necessary to satisfy the terms of said agreement. 4, to regulate the use of the facility constructed and reserved under this agreement to assure the use thereof by the public on equal and reasonable terms. 5, to comply with any and all terms of said agreement, including all terms not specifically set forth in the foregoing portions of this resolution. I would so move Resolution 2022-15.
We have a motion
Support.
and the support by Eldridge. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 10 is request approval of the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Land and Water Conservation Fund Development Project Agreement for Clubview Park.
So move.
Support.
Motion, Gerald Rowe, support Eldridge to approve the grant request and the development project agreement for Clubview Park, which are also, this is also for the tennis courts replacement and make them also so you can play pickleball, which is a huge, huge recreational now. We have a motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Motion carried. Number 11 is request approval of the letter of agreement with Spicer Group for the professional services for Clubview Park improvement in the amount of $47,000, which is budgeted upon approval of the budget amendment.
So move.
Support Peterson.
Motion Gerald Rowe, support Peterson. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 12 is request approval to fund the Friends Indeed Community Mural project located at 1196 Ecorse Road in the amount of $14,500, which is budgeted in line item 101-729-969-010. Can you show the,
Support.
have you seen it, Jimmy? No. There's a motion by Swanson, supported by Wilson. I don't know, I think it's cool.
It's cool.
It's our first.
It's our first community art that's a part of our master plan.
And it's part of our
It's a
budget, and
big
it was
deal.
really nice. It was a great time, and it was well-organized, and it was just, it makes you happy, really, so we needed that. Any questions or comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 13 is Resolution 2022-14, which is authorizing the Water Resource Commissioner to exceed the statutory spending and assessment limit of $5,000 per year for the maintenance and repair of the South Ford Lake Drain.
So move, Peterson.
Support.
I have Resolution 2022-4, no, it's okay. You can keep there. I'll read it still. 2022-14, a resolution authorizing the Water Resources Commissioner to exceed the statutory spending and assessment limit of $5,000 per year for the maintenance and repair of the South Ford Lake Drain. Whereas the South Ford Lake Drain is a drain located in the municipality of Ypsilanti Township, which drain was constructed in accordance with the Drain Code of 1956, and whereas the Water Resources Commissioner is entrusted with the responsibility of ensuring proper maintenance and repairs are made to said drain, and whereas the Water Resources Commissioner pursuant to statute has inspected the drain, which inspection revealed that repair work is necessary inasmuch as said inspection identified the need to stabilize the outfall of the South Ford Lake Drain, and whereas the Water Resources Commissioner of Washtenaw County has estimated that the repair of the drain will be approximately $100,000, and whereas pursuant to the Drain Code of 1956, the Water Resource Commissioner cannot exceed the statutory spending limit of $5,000 for the maintenance and repair of the drain unless approved by a resolution of the Township Board. And whereas the Water Resources Commissioner has requested the Township Board to pass such a resolution authorizing the Office of the Water Resource Commissioner to exceed the statutory spending limit allowed on the South Ford Lake Drain to wit $5,000 per year so as to allow repair of said drain. Now therefore it be resolved that the Ypsilanti Charter Township Board of Trustees for the municipality of Ypsilanti Charter Township hereby approves and authorizes the Office of Water Resource Commissioner to exceed the statutory spending limit of $5,000 per year for the repair of South Ford Lake Drain in the exceeded amount of $95,000.
So move, Peterson, on the resolution.
And Eldred? Yeah.
We have a motion and support to authorize the expenditure for the drain, that it was an emergency repair is what it was. And we will get more information as far as how much residents will be charged, because they don't know how much this could cost. They don't know exactly how many people are in that district. And Jimmy, you and I, we received a $55 assessment on a little pond.
Yep.
And there's over 200 houses in our subdivision, so I'm not sure how this is going to turn out once they bid it out and stuff, but we'll keep the board and how many people are in the district, so, but our actual statutory obligation is 35%.
So the total cost is $100,000?
And it's in an area that is on Huron River Drive. It's a big pond, and there's an outlet that goes next to a house, and that outlet has collapsed, and so they estimate 100,000, but there's not a lot of people to assess. That's the issue. Is there might be, we'll get more information as it progresses, but they can't move forward over $5,000 until this board approves it.
Okay.
So that's why we're doing it, and it'll come back. We budget every year for maintenance and stuff.
Okay.
So it'll be in next year's levy.
So this is to go over the 5,000?
This is, yeah.
I got it, all right.
And I just want to say that Evan Pratt is a great water resource commissioner and communicates so well and is very kind and helpful to our residents as well. He's really customer-oriented and community-oriented, and I trust him, you know, when he says we got to get this fixed. We had to get it fixed. If not, it would have caused a lot more problems. So he also helps with our vermin. Yeah, he administers that for us. They do baiting of rats in the storm drain, and he administers that for us, and we don't know how to do that, right? But that's another example of what he does.
Probably don't want to do it.
Pardon me?
We don't want to do it either.
We don't want what?
We probably don't want to do that either.
No, I
rats
am,
and
it's
drains.
way above my understanding and fear. I have a lot of fear of rats, yeah, like bats, yeah. But anyways, we have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm reading budget amendment number 12 is for general operations, request to increase the election division due to a special election that was held in May, and it was not budgeted, resulting in a budget amendment request now. The township was reimbursed $20,252 for the special school election. This will be funded by an increase in the election reimbursement revenue and appropriated for prior year fund balance. That amount is $23,250. We have a request to increase the revenue line for reimbursement coming for work that was done at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. The Veterans of America 310 have a 99-year lease with the township for the memorial property. And there is a fund held and administered by the Ann Arbor Community Fund, Ypsilanti Community Fund. The project work done on the memorial by the veterans can be reimbursed to them through this fund. The township has sent in the request for the reimbursement. All invoices and canceled checks for the project have been received. This is a pass-through cost and will be funded by a reimbursement and paid out of the Vietnam Veterans of America 310. And, Mr. Winter set this fund out, which is help to do it, a perpetual memorial fund to make sure that the dollars are set aside in order to maintain the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. And then if not, the township, it's on township property, so we will always be there for the veterans and the upkeep of the memorial. The next items request to transfer the funds received from DTE escrow account on behalf of the hydro dam for 2021 and 2022. The amount received into the general fund was $81,000 each year. These funds are needed in the hydro station for major repairs that that our hydro dam operator has scheduled for next year. This will be scheduled by an appropriation from prior year fund balance. Fund 213, we have a request to increase the budget for tennis and pickleball court improvements to Clubview Park. The township has been awarded a grant in the amount of $147,500 with a match by the township. This project will begin in 2022 with the engineering survey and design in the amount of $23,000. This will be funded by 50% by grant and 50% by prior year fund balance. That total amount is $23,000. Request to increase the budget for tennis and pickleball courts at Community Center Park. The township has been awarded the grant for $176,200 with a match from the township. This project will begin in 2022 with the engineering survey and design in the amount of $27,000. The next item is request to increase the budget for the annual purchase of trees at our park properties. This is funded by a reserve account for tree replacement within the appropriated prior year fund balance, and I would like this to be planted in Sugarbrook. That's for $4,000. 14B District Court, request to increase budget for PTO payouts of available hours to be paid at 75%, and that is $3,691. And request to receive the funds from the general fund and deposited into the hydro fund account in the amount of $162,000 for years 21 and 22. I can't move it. Did I finish it? I can't. Well, I would ask for a motion.
Yeah, no,
I can't motion to amend.
I'll motion to amend the 2022 budget, move to increase the general fund budget by $190,806 to $11,159,105 and approve the department line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the bike, sidewalk, recreation, and road BSR2 fund budget by $54,000 to $2,798,107 and approve the line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the 14B District Court Department Fund budget by $3,691 to $1,832,018 and approve the line item changes as outlined. And move to do a line transfer for the hydro station fund budget by net zero and approve the department line item changes as outlined. I would so move the budget amendment number 12.
Support.
Motion by Gerald Rowe, supported by Peterson to approve the budget amendments. Are there questions or comments? And Mr. Wilson, you weren't at the work session, but we discussed the Relief Michigan. And Mr. Hoffmeister had a lot of concerns because when we buy trees, every year we plant trees, but we get a 1-year warranty with it. And this doesn't have that and requires 3 years of our staff, which is 4, to water, maintain, improve. There's no warranty on it at all. So that's why we're just concerned about how to manage this. Not that we don't want them, I wanted to share that information because we do want trees, but we also want them to be successful. So if there's a way to get a maintenance, a 1-year guarantee on the tree, that would be forever helpful for us.
Madam Chair. Yeah, thank you for the explanation. I also want to just make mention on this budget. I'm glad we're always trying to help out the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. I've been in the last few years helping maintain that memorial. I'm not a veteran myself, but that's my way of giving back to our veterans. Next year, I'll probably not be able to help out as much due to time constraints for other positions. But I think my replacement, Treasurer Eldridge, is going to do a great job. He's been helping us this year, so I'll probably take over a little more next year. So thankful for him also.
Thank you. So we have a motion support for the budget amendments. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have a request to seek bids for roof safety improvements at the Ypsilanti Township Community Center that will be brought back to the board.
So support.
Motion Eldridge, support Gerald Rowe. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 2 is a request to seek bids for building improvements for the Parks and Grounds Maintenance Building.
So move.
Support.
Motion Rowe, support Newman. Questions or comments? This will come back to the board as well. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there any other business to come before the board? How about board member updates? Are there any updates?
Madam Chair, just a few things. I first just want to acknowledge and remember Miss Ruby Nell Walker, who passed away recently, and as many of you know in the township, she retired from our office last year, and we just miss her so much and thankful for her 21 years of service to our township. Thank you for hiring her. Really appreciate that, and so we'll miss her and just think about her family often. We have our training tomorrow for our new tabulators that are here in the building, and our office has applied for some grant reimbursement through the Secretary of State's office. So hopefully, if we're awarded that, we'll report that back to you guys. That was a total of $28,500. As you know, ballots are in, we're stuffing them, and just for residents' information, we'll hopefully get those out in the mail the first week in October. They must be available by the 29th. So on September 29th, anyone is welcome to come into the clerk's office and receive a ballot at that time. And that's all I got for now. Trying to not talk. I'm not very good at that.
Any other?
I just have one minute.
Yes, Treasurer.
The tax season has come to a close. I just thought I would update you. We've collected roughly 53 out of 56 million owed to the township. That may go up slightly as the county sends more bills over to us where they get money from the state to help folks that need assistance paying their bills. That's coming in kind of slow and late. So roughly 94% collected, which puts us at the top in the county right now.
Excellent. So I guess I would just want to acknowledge that I appreciate residents who came out and spoke today. I'm a little puzzled about where, like the process and how the idea is taking place about LPRs. I'm new at this as far as a trustee goes, but I'm not sure, like you said 2 times, I actually think there were 3 times where people showed up thinking we were going to take a vote when that's not what was on the agenda. And it's concerning to me that the way things are being portrayed, and of course we take feedback, but when you're sitting here and you're listening to things, you know, we just have to listen. But I think some of the things that are being said, it's just being portrayed in a way that wasn't, just doesn't represent what happened. And I'm not sure how inciting fear and hate and unkindness and name calling, I'm not sure how that gets us to a place where our community can make decisions that are thoughtful around what might be in the best interests of our community. And so it's concerning to me because I don't think that's the intention of the board. I don't think that's the intent of even the sheriff's department. I'm not convinced that the process itself happened in a way that led to something being smoother, or at least to a point where the decision could be, where conversations could take place where people are like talking about like the big ideas that are important. And that's really concerning to me because I just don't think, like right now with the world being the way it is and as stressful as things are on people, starting something for the purpose of encouraging upsetness doesn't seem like the healthiest thing for our community to be well, because we're going to disagree. There are going to be moments when we're going to disagree and we're not going to agree on things, but I don't know that the answers to move forward are ever going to come from let's be afraid and let's be unkind. I just don't think that's where it's going to come from. So that concerns me, and it's unfortunate that, you know, at the time right now, like there aren't people here, but I'm thinking as we move forward, one of the things I think is we hear a lot about surveillance, we hear a lot about cameras, we hear a lot about what this or that, and I've started to look around in our community at where we are being surveilled. And I encourage anybody, people who are in the room, there's not that many people in the room right now, but I encourage you to start to look and see where that's happening. There are very few places anymore, and it's not just on private property, it's public property too. And I'm not here to say yes or no, but I am concerned when people are speaking as if it's like an entire township of people who've decided somebody, and I don't think that that's necessarily true, and I don't know that we've had the opportunity for people to really have a chance to look at it. And I didn't think that was like our role. Like if something comes forward from us, for example, Clerk Rowe comes to us and she says, in order for us to process the election well, we need tabulators. Okay, she's the person that works in that office that comes to us and says, this is what we need. This is a tool that's going to make things easier for us. And if she says we're going to bring them in, we can train our staff, we can make sure our staff is going to use them in the way that's appropriate, then that's the way stuff comes to us and we say yes. I don't feel like that's the way this particular tool came to us, and I'm not sure why that is or why it happened, but I do think it's unfortunate that we have a lot of people showing up that have made assumptions that something's just done. And I'm here to speak on behalf of myself. I can't speak for anybody else, but that's not what was planned here. And so my concern is that the thinking is, well, you know, people came and they said a lot of stuff, and then but that's not really the way the process is supposed to happen. And so I'm concerned as somebody who says, as we sat here, because I think it just doesn't fairly represent the way we think about our community and the way we make decisions. I don't think it represents us, and I don't think that we listened to a presentation. That's what we did.
Agreed. Other comments?
Just one, Madam Chair. Just want to thank this board who authorized to close down Grove Street, I think. Grove Street, I'm sorry, yes, thank you. For the sickle cell walk-in run, and it was very successful for the first time. It was given by University Bank and with State Representative Ronnie Peterson. There's like 70 runners for the first time, but the big deal was in Detroit, where they had over 300 to 400 runners. Wow. So that's how they accumulated, and a lot of donations, I believe, over $100,000. So we thank you for a great start here.
That's excellent.
Thank you.
Any other comments? I would like to say that there's been several COVID cases among our employee group and also in our county and in our country. So it's really important that we still stay safe. And it's like the flu. It's going to be here every year, I'm afraid. And until we get a handle on it, there's still resources available. We have masks and we have test kits. They're handing them out at the treasurer's office. They're handing them out at the community center. We're making them available, and we're getting calls for it as well. So I know churches are asking for more, and the testing is really important. So you know to stay home and you don't spread it. So tests are now about $20, I think, at the store, and that's a lot of money to test. So we have them available here, and we get that out, but I just want to let the board know that we might have to order more tests because people are really asking for them. And we could try delivering them again, but it has to be a certain temperature, and it was hard to make sure that they stay at that temperature. But it is a concern. It's a health and safety concern. And I'm pretty sure she's going to get me sick. So if I'm out for a week, I don't know what. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But this is serious. People are getting sick. And Trustee Swanson, I agree with you that I don't understand stirring up something that is not before us and we haven't even gotten or received all the information on it as well. The one issue that is really always stuck with us is whenever someone talks about people capturing that data and selling it. And I really don't understand how that works, but I've heard it several times, and I think we need to find out more about it. I haven't had the opportunity to talk to the sheriff since the article came out, and the survey results, if I read it correctly, was that it was flawed. The survey in the beginning was not open to only Ypsilanti Township, and it also allowed you to vote as many times as you want. So that's not a good survey, but it provided some data, I guess, but it's just not clear. Nothing's really clear on it. And the sheriff did give it a green light. I'm concerned that people don't trust the sheriff. I was surprised by that, to be honest. I have not heard that a lot before. I mean, that was Sheriff Clayton. But, if there's concerns, we need to address them and have communications with people. But we don't have all the information. And to make children, or not children, young adults think that we're going to vote on this when we don't even have all the information. That's not necessary to stir up emotion in people. We would never do anything without community engagement and without going out to the neighborhood like we did for the cameras, and that is exactly what we did. The difference is the sheriff and the township were side by side doing community meetings. We had COVID. It really wasn't as community engaged. He did do several Zoom meetings. And overall, at those meetings, the residents did not ask a lot of questions. If they did, it was mostly, can you write a traffic ticket for this? And the answer is no. And how do you save the data? You have it for 30 days. After that, it's erased unless they take that specific license plates for a case. It's only for investigations. It's not monitored 24/7, but I hear what people are saying, and I want to get more information on it, but we're not even close to that at all. And if we did, the residents would know, because we would have meetings in the community with the residents and let them know and get the answers that we have. I mean, there's so many things going on with the health and safety of our community right now, and the economic recession that's looming, and I'm worried about our residents. I just want to make sure that we are safe and we have the resources to help them when they need it, and we'll have more conversations in the future, but it's not on any agenda or anything until we have community meetings, is what we discussed anyways in the past. Ms. Kaiser, do you have board member update?
Yes, Mia. Can I just make a comment? These people do not realize how many neighborhoods in Ypsilanti Township have cameras that go into the neighborhoods.
Right.
I mean, all it does is, my understanding, take a picture of the license plate, basically. I don't know if you can see it, but they aren't kept. And how many years have we had that? Several years. Mm-hmm. But I would believe that none of these people even have any clue that we have those cameras. Just somebody is stirring the pot to upset them. Mm-hmm. And with technology, with your computer or handhelds and all this kind of whatever you call them.
Yep. We never want to harm anyone. I do know that. I do want to help with kidnappings and murders and.
Well, I know, but with their phones, how safe are their phones?
Right.
They have that with them, probably 24 hours a day?
Thank you for your update. A motion and support to.
Support.
Motion Eldridge. Thank you, Ms. Kaiser. Who supported it? Jimmy Wilson. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 8:47. Thank you.